Good morning, everybody. How you guys doing this morning? If anybody's watching. Oh. So, I didn't stay up to watch the whole thing, but I did watch some of Joel Telling's live stream last night. Should have been sleeping. Should have been, but I did not. Alrighty. Let's see here. Let's go pull this up. Make sure the stream is going. Yes. Okay. Alright. Well, I don't think anybody's watching yet. So I'm just going to get to work, and if people show up, they show up. So let's go to OBS. Let's go to screen share. Let's put the chat back on top so I can see it. The poll results are in. The Jet was the overwhelming winner. And I mean overwhelming. Like, let's see, what was the final percentage? Here we go. So, good morning, Mike. The poll results are in. The overwhelming winner was the Jet. Only 13 votes were tallied, but from that number, it appears 10 of those votes were for the Jet. Good morning, Matt Johnson. So the Jet is what we're going to work on. Morning, or I guess afternoon, where you're at, Scalda. So the Jet is what we're going to work on because it was the overwhelming winner of the poll. No, you don't have to be sorry. I wanted everyone to be honest with what they wanted to see, and I was told that well, you should work on what you want to work on, and the thing that I want to make clear is I want to work on all of them. I want to get all of them done, and I will get all of them done. Putting the poll up was just a way for you guys to voice your opinions on what you would like to see move forward next. And the Jet was the overwhelming winner. So the yet unnamed Jet. I still need to finish printing the tank to make sure there's no iterations that need to be done on it. And I don't know if Roy Holly's working on his or not. I haven't had a chance to speak with him since I put up the last of the files last week. I apologize ahead of time. My voice is a little shot. So we may keep this short. My allergies are out of this world right now. The subdivision that I live in is surrounded by farmers' fields. And all of those fields, because they don't have anything planted in them and growing yet, are all covered in these like waist-high yellow flowers. Roy is working on the tank. Waiting for more filament. Good morning, Ben. Yeah, I need to get to printing on mine. as well. And I've got filament. I don't think I have enough of the military khaki colored filament, so I probably will need to order another roll of that before I finish. Alright, well, first things first. I changed up what I was doing on the nose cone, so I need to fill that hole because I need to move the front landing gear back. Originally, that was going to be the mounting point for the front landing gear, but now it is not. So I need to delete those faces so I don't have internal faces. Face there. Face there. And I need to hide the fuselage for a moment. Face there, and then let's get rid of those. Get rid of those. Guess I should turn on my screencast keys, huh? So y'all can see what I'm doing. Good morning, Mr. Vines. Alright, let me do that real quick. Let's, if I remember how to do it. File browser, desktop, screencast keys. Uh-oh. Well, that's not fun. Okay, hold on. Blender's being weird, so let's close it and reopen it. And it's still doing it. What in the world? I don't know what it's doing here. Why is Blender doing this to me? I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. Well, for some reason, I can't get the text editor to pull up the code to do the screencast keys. Alright, well, sorry folks, we're just going to have to go without it. And somehow I've managed to change the view mode while I was at it too. This is... I don't know what I'm doing. Morning, Jake from State Farm / Matt. Right? Rubber nose cone. I don't know what in the world I did. Yeah, 3D printer noob. That I didn't stay up to watch the whole thing, but when the alarm went off at 6 o'clock this morning, I was like, I really shouldn't have stayed up until 2 a.m. watching Joel and Sean struggle with putting together a printer that is not supposed to be a struggle to put together, but he dropped the bolt inside the printer. Chris Warcocky was on there, and he's like, I could have built 2 Prussias in this time. Yeah, I got home from playing last night, and the time I got wound down and was just about ready to go to sleep, I get this. My tablet pops up with 3D Printing Nerd is streaming live now. I'm like, what? I'm like, I gotta see what's going on, and so I popped in there, and then I stayed way too late. I should have fought the urge. I mean, I enjoy Joel's content, I really do, but I also enjoy sleep. So yeah, I've jacked up my interface badly here, and I don't know how to fix it. See if that fixes it. Nope. Alright. Fine. Be that way. Here's what we're going to do then. To try to combat my stupidity of whatever the heck I did wrong. I'm going to copy that. New file. User preferences, input. Select with left. Save user settings. There we go. The good news is lately my computer hasn't been acting up as much. Just hide those. Hide those. Because I'm not even sure those are going to get used in the long run. We're going to file, we're going to save as. Jet. Overwrite the old one. There. Here's where I screwed up before, is I open desktop. Run script. And then we'll go back to the 3D view. I screwed up the process of screencasting keys, and that's where it all went wrong. Okay. Now we can work, and we have screencast keys. Alright, so I need to figure out where... Oh, let me close that before that starts making a bunch of noise. I need to figure out how I'm going to do landing gear and where to cut it into the fuselage. I'm also going to need to take some measurements of the fuselage, so let's go ahead and do that while I think. Oh man. Add-ons all went away. Alright, so we need Bull Tools, we need 3D printing toolbox. And we need hard ops. There we go. And we need to measure it. So yeah, during that whole process of trying to fix my mistake, I put everything back to defaults, which got rid of all of my add-ons. Alright, my add-ons are back. So there, anybody who's getting started in Blender and wanting to know what add-ons I use, you just saw me install them all. And that's the beauty of Blender, is how quick and easy it is to install that. And then oh yeah, this is going to require some cutting apart, because currently the fuselage is 1.2 meters in length. That would be 3 full build volume prints of 3.5, 3 plus on the S4. But we haven't finalized scaling yet either, so as it sits right now, that's where it's at. So I probably, the best way for me for scaling is to bring in a seat. So I'm just going to bring in a seat right now that I know is measured out well. We're going to open the VSV, and we're going to grab its seat. We're not going to use the VSV seat on this. We're just using it for measurements, for scaling. Yeah, the jet's still scaled up too big. So that's going to make it better when I rescale this. Let's first rotate those. And we lost screencast keys, didn't we? Rotate those 90 degrees. Still eat 1/2 of those. We lost screencast keys because I went to run script, 3D view, because I opened a different file. All right. See, because I've already taken measurements of this seat, so I know it's scaled right for the action figures. And we know there's going to be, I'm planning on this being a 2-seater. So we'll make a second seat. And we'll grab these 2 seats. Yeah, this is going to scale down a lot. All right. So let's grab all this and this. Good morning, Vince and Mike Whaley. Said morning to y'all yet. Grab the boosters. And let's scale them down. Scale them down more. And then scale it back up a little. Just kind of eyeballing to get the approximate scale here. That should put us more in the ballpark. Let's hide the boosters. We can delete the seats now. Let's get that in the middle. All right. Somewhere along the line, we moved the 3D cursor. So let's zero that back out. Morning, Ryan. Yeah, I shouldn't have stayed up watching Joel because my brain just isn't functioning this morning. Why in the world were they streaming so late? I guess maybe it was so that they could catch the international market better. In June. Where are you coming in June? If it's somewhere close, we'll have to get together and hang out. If you have time. Oh, well, yeah. CMA Fest. Yeah, I probably won't have a lot of time. CMA Fest, I end up playing pretty much every day of CMA Fest. Yeah, on Thursday night and on Thursday night I'm at the stage, and then Friday morning I'm at, well, should be at Crossroads, although some things are in flux with the morning shift at Crossroads. Um, they're wanting to try out some other bands, and because that's a slow shift, they're going to use that shift to try out some other bands, which means I may have a few shifts off while they try out some new people. So hopefully they don't take CMA Fest Friday morning from me. That'll make me mad. But if it happens, that's this lovely business we call music. All right. And then Friday afternoon, I'm at the stage. And then Saturday night, I'm at AJ's, and Sunday afternoon at AJ's. So, yeah. Well, if y'all come out, I'll sing her some Chris Young. I can't today, right now. I actually ended up calling in sick on last Sunday because my voice was too far gone. I went ahead and did last night because my band has 3 other people who can sing, so they just had to take some of the load off of me. Um, but my Sundays are solo acoustic, and 4 hours, I didn't have 4 hours in me. And it was the first time I've called into a gig in 4 years. Largely because if you're not at the gig, you don't get paid. There's no such thing as sick leave or vacation days that you can put in and use. It doesn't exist in this business. All right, so let's see here. If I put the landing gear here, looks like it will fold up. Let's move it back one. Because I want the front wheel to fold up behind the seats. The problem was where I first started to put it was the front wheel was going to fold up right into where the seats were, and then there wasn't going to be room for it. So I think we can put it there, though. So let's cut the hole. Delete the faces. And delete those faces. Face. face. Make a face. Face. Grab all those. Hit Q to set a sharp. Now, hitting Q to set these sharp edges, that is part of hard ops. So that requires the hard ops add-on. Like I said, if you're going to do much of this, hard ops will save you loads of time. All right, so we'll make cut the front wheel in there. And the back wheels. I'm not sure how I'm going to do those yet. I have a few options and I don't know which one. Because I've seen landing gear handled a number of ways. Now the front is pretty much always a standard, just a swing out. Deal, but then the rear landing gear, I've seen it where it folds out like this. I've seen it where it folds out like this. And I'm not sure what the best way to go about it is going to be just yet. So while I think on that, let's move over to the canopy and work on it a little bit. Yeah, I thought that was going to happen. Sorry. These allergies are killing me. Killing me. Hide the fuselage while I adjust. The thickness of the canopy. And these the canopy is why I'm wanting to get why I've decided I kind of do now want a resin printer. I was dead set against them for a long time, but now that I'm getting into some designs that could use a clear canopy, nothing can handle that the way a resin printer does. I know there are FDM solutions out there, but most of them, like the Poly Smooth with the polisher and all that. But then I'm like, I'd have as much money in buying the Poly Smooth material and the polisher to smooth it as I would into buying one of the low-end resin printers. Probably more, since that AlphaWise resin printer is what, $300. So I am at some point going to want to look into that. Meantime, I will have to rely on people who have that sort of thing to test stuff for me, and Walter has volunteered to do so with his resin printer. So Because that's the other thing is, I know resin printers can handle things being a little bit thinner, but how thin before they become fragile, you know? So, or how thick before they stop being as transparent as it needs to be. So, just for the sake of sanity, I'm going to make a copy of the canopy before applying this modifier in case I decide that's not going to work. So, apply the modifier. You can see a solidify modifier adds thickness to what was a single shell. So we're going to work with that as the thickness of the glass. And I think the canopy is going to need some detail. My concern there is I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of painting and stuff. So I wonder if I can make a separate shell to be FDM printed and snap the canopy into. Oh, great. Neighbors are mowing. We're paying a mowing service, actually. Yeah, I am as well, Mike. So, you know, that is another is a fair and valid point. That's true, but then I need to build a vacuum forming machine. I've watched YouTube videos on how to do it. It doesn't seem that hard. Just some wood framing to make and plywood to make a box and a piece of pegboard to use for the top of the vacuum chamber, and a hole saw to cut a hole for the vacuum. And the thing that I saw was actually best to do is if you're going to use like a shop vac to do it, you could actually go buy a cheap shop vac attachment and cut just the little sleeve off. But I could 3D print it too. So I don't know. So let's copy this. Duplicate it by selection. Scale it out just a hair. A little separation from the canopy. Let's put a different. Let's take the materials off of it. And then let's apply a solidify modifier to it. Knock the thickness down. We can start there. Let's bring the fuselage back and see how this is looking. Hey, man, Mike. How is things down your way? I was telling somebody last night about how bad allergies were kicking my butt, and apparently they're from Alabama, and they said Alabama's worse than Tennessee for allergies. I'm like, I've never been anywhere worse than where I'm at right now for allergies. I have never suffered from allergies as bad as I am right now, ever. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe that means I don't want to go visit Alabama if it's worse. Homesick. See, now I've been unwell, and allergies has been the reason I've been unwell. Yeah, the guy last night said, you think Tennessee's bad, you should come to Alabama. I said, no thanks, if it's worse than now, because I've never had it this rough allergy season. Let's temporarily hide that so I can see. Yeah, it's taken a toll on my voice, and like I said, I called in sick on Sunday. It's the first time I'd called in 4 years, because I don't like missing out on my income. So I don't call in. That's not me. Why? There we go. There we go. And I'll deal with the spots where that overlaps before I finalize everything. And let's hit save since my computer, so far has cooperated and hasn't shut down, but it'd be my luck that it would die in the middle of this. So let's go ahead and render it real quick and take a look at where we're at. Oh, wow. The camera's all out of whack since I'm anything. So let's not render the boosters. Let's take a look at the camera view here. Let's move the camera in closer. And move the camera down. Camera a little this way. Let's render the scene. This is the thing that when I get a new computer will speed up dramatically, is the rendering. Because right now this computer screams for help every time I hit the render button. I'm trying to cough away from the camera when it happens, or away from the microphone. All right. I don't see any apparent issues in the render. I don't know. What do you guys think, canopy wise? You think that's going to work? I will flatten that out as well before final when I hinge it. The bevel causing that? What in the world? Just noticed that. I was like, that's weird. Okay. Nope, 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 nope. There's some sort of weird artifact going on in this area of the wing. Right here and right here. It's caused by panel lines that I put in, or maybe it's because the panel lines aren't sharp. It's better. Yeah, I cleaned that up a lot. So save. Today we've got the canopy done. Well, not done. It's still got to be hinged. Cleaned up some artifacts on the wing. Yeah, I know this stuff is boring. The little fine tuning things that go into some of these parts. Oh, after we scaled, where did we end up measurement wise? After we scaled it to the seat. Oh, that's much better. Now the fuselage is 710 millimeters in length, which means I'm going to need to break it, for most people, probably into 3 pieces. Because right now there's only a couple printers I know of that could print it in 1 piece. The FK1, and I forget what's the length on the FT6. It's 700 and something, isn't it? If anybody's got those dimensions handy. Yeah, it's big. It is big. Trying to look at some natural dividing points. I could cut it here at this line. Really, really want the piece where the wings connect to stay solid. So cut it again like here maybe. And that should keep the grooves that the wings are going to slide into being one piece. So for argument's sake, if I did cut it at those spots, there and there, Hmm. 234 millimeters. And a Prusa is what, 220? Let's see, I could maybe get away with cutting it there and there. Does that get us closer? 219.85. So that looks like that would be max build volume on a Prusa. How are we looking width-wise? I believe that's the widest point of the plane right there. Oh man, really? Yeah. It might, Mad Mike. It might. This is going to mean a lot of supports if you have to tilt it. I guess it depends on the orientation you want your layer lines too. Because if you set this flat on the bed, where this cut is going to be, and print it up like that, then you would have more freedom to angle the body pieces and no supports, essentially, which would be better. It just means your layer lines are going to run this way on the plane. I think I would prefer mine running this way. But I guess ultimately it's not going to matter a lot. Yes, the wings are detachable. They're going to be a separate piece that you glue in. They will peg into the body and glue in. Get an approximate width on the wing. Oh man, their wing right now is 312 millimeters wide, approximately. I really don't want to make the wings a separate piece, multiple piece. But I guess I could section them off like right here. Maybe. This jet is going to present some challenges for people with normal size printers. Or for me to design it for people with normal size printers. Keeping in mind not everybody has a big beast. But I know, I can cut the fuselage into 3 pieces. That shouldn't be a problem. Sectioning the wings off into more than 1 piece, though, starts getting dicey. Because just the wing supporting its own weight out like that is going to have some torsional stress on any kind of joint that you would put together. Just under its own weight. And the wings aren't going to be real thick, so I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I feel like allergies have had me pretty much sick all month. For the last month. Every time I drive past those vast fields of yellow flowers, I'm like, kill it with fire. Alright, so far today we've mocked up a spot for the front landing gear, fixed some artifacts in the wings, taken some measurements and done some scaling, worked on the canopy, got the canopy all except for the hinge point, and flattening out this back area, which shouldn't be hard. We still got to design the landing gear, figure out the design for the rear landing gear, design it, an interior, weapon systems, missiles, etc. But I think it'll be fun when this thing gets to the point where it can be printed to see what color combos and stuff people come up with. And this one will be a lot of fun to go back and have some multi-material fun with. Tom Jackson, Filament Frenzy, asked an interesting question yesterday, and it was what he's like, if you had 800 pounds, I think he said 800 pounds, yeah, 800 pounds, which equated to 1,050 US dollars, and you could buy any 3D printer or 3D printing accessory. It was free and clear. What would you buy? And he said, don't say Prusa. He's like, I'm tired of it, which led to Joseph Prusa posting a funny response of, really? Really? But my answer was a Palette 2 and an Alphawise W10. So I could print the canopy and I could also start printing some multi-material stuff. It was a little bit of a squirrel, 3D printer new, but it was relevant because of the earlier discussion of printing canopies, and then I got to talking about how fun this one's going to be to multi-material later. Some striping packages and whatnot. Which also I have a multi-material project in mind that I need to get on, and it's something I don't want to show until it's done, just in case I screw it up. So right now aside from breaking the fuselage into three pieces, it's not a whole lot of pieces. Fuselage is three pieces. That's a fun word to say. Morning, Walter. Fuselage will be three pieces. Nose cone, the diffusers, the tail fin, the wings, the afterburner jet engine, and the intakes. The landing gear will probably have more pieces to it than anything else. Talk about big when it's all said and done, because that's 710 just the fuselage, and the nose cone will add another 163, 870, and figure another 30 or so for that. So we're talking about a jet that's going to be 900 millimeters long. Be huge. So as I design the body, I need to try to or finalize the body. I need to try to build like a rigid support structure inside that maybe doesn't require infill. Let's hide that for now. So right now it's just a hollow shell. But we haven't cut the wings in yet. The mounting points for the wings. Got to cut those in. Yeah, I may have to design a large format. Like the FK1. Or maybe just a really tall Delta, one that goes floor to ceiling in here. That would be cool. Eight-foot high delta, so you'd have a usable print volume of probably about what, 5.5 feet. In height. All right, so we've got oh good, I was smart enough to do that already. Thicken up the body where the tail fin is going to go. Yeah, I still want to see Chris Riley build his hang shed. I know he's talked about it. And we were talking about big printers, and then we were talking about the FT6, and I know he's got one of those that's waiting for a build as well. That man is working too much. You don't have time to play. All work and no play. Oh, I did cut that in already. I didn't know I'd cut those mounting points in. I did, all the way around. Well, looky there. I don't know if that one's going to be deep enough. So, if I cut the fuselage the way I currently have it, if I cut the fuselage into those three pieces we talked about earlier, a slice there and a slice there, you could print them standing upright. And it would be hollow with no supports really, hardly to speak of. Although I'm sure your machine would want to fill those in with supports and you have to dig those out. But that wouldn't be difficult. So if you printed them vertically, you could print them with no supports, and you may even be able to fit all three pieces on the build plate at the same time. Yeah. Because while it's big, this way and this way, it won't be big this way. So you could put them side by side by side, and then it'd be a long print, yeah, but it wouldn't have hardly any supports to clean off. When you took it off the bed, you just snap those three pieces together, little glue. Yeah. So in order to do it that way, I need to make the interior as a shell by itself that you would print out and then attach inside. Okay. I think that just might work. And we'll have to see about the wings and dealing with if they're going to have to be more than one piece. I mean, I know I can print them on the S4 and on the Tornado, because they have build heights. If I put them so that it's building up from the build plate like this on the wing, they have build heights of 400 millimeters. So the wings were under that. I mean, so it's not going to be a problem for me, but I try to make these things printable for folks who don't have large format printers as well. When I get the canopy done, Walter, I'm gonna have to send the STL to you and have you test print one on your resin printer. That's a possibility. Of course, if I do that, I want to make this adjust so that it caps the end and covers up the slot. You know what I'm saying? So that once the wings are slotted in, these, instead of being inserts, will become caps. So when you put them in, they cover up that slot, lock everything together. Because if I do a slot, you're going to have a visible opening here. But if I turn that into a cap, that would also slide into the last bit of that slot and lock that wing in place and with glue, and would cover up the slot so to hide it. It would just mean that this portion of the finished model would also be that dark color. Or, well, you know, in this case, a dark color, but yeah. And then a part of that would be visible that went down into the slot right there. John, how you doing, sir? And congratulations on 10K, man. That's huge. That's amazing and well deserved. I know you have put a ton of work into it, man, and you deserve every bit of that success. Yeah, I think we could do that, Roy. Like I said, I would just have to turn these into caps that slid down into the last bit of that channel. And whatever color you printed this, you're going to see a little bit of it here, a little stripe going in behind the wing. And but I do think you're right. I think it would add a little structural rigidity and some more support for the wing from its own weight this way, up and down. I wonder if that lawn mowing company realize how loud they're talking at her. Good Lord. They're clear up by the street and I can hear every word they're saying. I don't know if you guys can. And then I could do the same thing back here for the rear fends and make this piece slot into that same slot. A big track. I don't know what that is. Are you gonna make me Google a big track? Oh, that's cool. So I Googled big track. Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I wouldn't copy the design exact because I don't do that. But I could do something similar, something inspired by. Whoops. Just trying to get to that. There we go. Wow. That's cool. You caught their whole conversation. That's a heck of a microphone. So yeah, I mean, I Googled big track. It's pretty cool. Actually, I see some design similarities let's say saved. I see a few design similarities to the APC that I designed. And the APC is an 8x8, well, where that would be a 6x6. Which, by the way, the hauler that was up for the poll vote, the hauler would have also incorporated the APC because they're the same base vehicle. Brian, don't start making stuff up like that, man. Don't do that. So yeah, you can see the hauler and the APC are the same base vehicle. It's just all part of the modular design that I try to do on everything, so that just swapping some parts around will make a whole different vehicle. Anyway, enough of the bird walk. Back to the jet. Howdy, Don. The hauler got 1 vote, Roy. 1. Out of 13 votes, it got 1. Here was the final results of the poll. Based upon the percentages, I would have to say 13 votes. The Jet got 10 of them. The hauler got one. The trailer got one, and the other got one. And whoever put other didn't bother to comment and say what other. So the Jet was the overwhelming majority winner. It wasn't even a contest. And so here we are today working on the Jet. And we've got a lot to accomplish today. Figured out the spot for and cut in the opening for the landing gear, the front landing gear. Still got to do the rear landing gear. Going to re-engineer that slot for the wings now. You voted for the hauler. You were the one. So yeah, the hauler's gonna have to wait a little bit till the next poll. When we get the Jet done, I'll do another poll of some low hanging fruit, as it were, projects that need to be finished. But I'll make sure next time to say hauler / APC, because they're the same basic model. Getting one done gets the other one done. The tactical trailer, which is still, that one's probably going to be a pretty quick one, because all I've pretty much got to engineer is some hinges and the like, and then design a bunch of accessories for it, because I want it to have tools and shelving and all sorts of stuff. So it'll be designing a bunch of little things, because the overall big part of it is done. Roy, in fact, has printed the bottom half of the tactical trailer. So Roy's probably really anxious to have the tactical trailer done so he can just print the rest of it. And Roy, I believe, is the only one to print the Mighty Might, the go-kart, as well. Which it came out looking sweet, Roy. Came out looking good. Which I need to go back and iterate the body on that to thicken up that shell just a little bit. Something's wrong with my Thingiverse link. I'll fix it after the stream. Goes to a 404. Well, you can just, you can go to Thingiverse and type in Tanner Designs and find me that way. Alright, so we're going to slot that. I think the best way to do that would be create cube, scale, scale, G, Morning, D. So you think a channel shaped about like that be good enough for rigidity's sake? Give you some slots to help line it up, and then it would also offer a little torsional bite this way. Uh-huh. See, I think one of the things that screwed up my description and all that was YouTube um, last week forced me to go to um, the beta studio, and there's no link to go back to the old school one anymore. And so rather than retyping my whole description, I copied and pasted it from the video description of a previous video, and that may have messed it up. So I'll go back in and edit it after we conclude here today. No, they removed it from my channel. There's no longer a setting on my channel to go back to the old Creator Studio. And they are apparently rolling that out bit by bit. So some may still have it, but it was removed from mine. Because I was always going back to the classic Creator Studio. And that option is no longer available for me. And I don't know, in their new live streaming studio, I don't care for at all. I mean, I guess I'll get used to it. But it seems like there's more steps to getting going. One thing I do like about it, though, is the well, when was the last time you streamed, Don? Mine went away literally a week ago today. It was no longer there. 2 weeks ago, it was still there. A week ago, it was gone. But I do like the real time stat tracking now. Is much better than the old, but everything about the user friendliness of getting your stream started got harder. And now there are extra steps involved, including having to start and tell the stream to start and stop. It's no longer just hit start streaming on OBS and you're streaming. You hit start streaming on OBS and then you got to go back over to the YouTube page and click go live. Yeah, this has been a recent development, and I believe they're rolling it out for everybody bit by bit. I don't think it's happening all at once kind of thing. And maybe it's because 99% of my usage is live streaming. Maybe I got targeted for it first because I'm sure they're using some people as guinea pigs. Go force him to use it and see if he sends us emails and hollers and complains. I'm still wondering if I shouldn't add another little nub into the track like that. So then that would step up and then have that little groove to help you line everything up. And to keep their wing from pulling back. Being able to be just pulled out. And maybe that groove needs to be deeper. I don't want to make it so deep that this part becomes too thin and then breaks. But yeah, I think having grooves like that will prevent the wing from just being able to be pulled straight out. And this will offer it a little bit more solid, wanting to stay like this. So yeah, let's do that. Setting up a Hangout is different than a regular live stream. Hangouts go through the events thing, the event scheduler. Regular live streams do not go through the event scheduler. But again, mine no longer has the option to go back to Classic. It just goes straight to YouTube Beta, Creator Studio Beta, and there's no longer a link to go back to Classic. But this is my second stream with it. I've managed to stream twice with it now, and it's just something I'll get used to, and I'll be fine with eventually. I resist change. You know, I've been married for 18 years. I resist change. I like things to stay the same. Come after. Okay. Right. I'll try it. But the thing is, it's like with Blender 2.8. Blender 2.8 changes the interface dramatically from 2.79, and I would go ahead and switch to it now if this computer I'm using would handle it, but it won't. I may resist change, but I also know when it's time to accept change, because that's the way it's going to be moving forward, and better to get used to it now, because eventually the old way won't exist anymore. So that's why when I do build my new computer, as soon as it's up and running, Blender 2.8 is what's going on the new computer. I'll be bidding adieu to 2.79 because I know all the interface changes and things that have been made, they're not coming back. It's best to get used to it the way that it is going to be, not the way that it used to be. So that's the same thing with this, knowing that the beta studio thing is going to be the norm, and they're rolling it out that way and starting to force it on people. That's going to be the norm. Might as well get used to it, because eventually that's the way it's going to be for everybody, and until they come up with a new version beyond that. So yeah, it's not that there's functionality missing. It's just it's not as easy to find. It's not as user friendly. Maybe YouTube got tired of all those little content creators, and they're like, we're gonna make it harder on them. Maybe they'll quit. All right, so after I cut this in, that's not going to be bad. You're just going to have that little bit from the tip of the wing to the vent that will be visible as a stripe of whatever color the wing is. Or not whatever color wing is, rather whatever color the vent is behind the wing is going to be that little stripe right there. So that won't be too bad. So maybe I won't do that back here, because then that stripe would be more noticeable on the back. Maybe I'll keep these the way they are, because they're small. They're not nearly as heavy. They're not going to have that much torsional force put on them. So I think they'll be fine as just glue and slot them in. Well, Don, that'd be fine if there were competition out there, or if somebody else had some form of control. But when they hold all the cards, they can do whatever they want. That's where it's good to be the boss. It's good to be the king. Like if I send out a text today and tell my band to learn this song because I want to do it, it doesn't matter if the band likes the song or not. It's my band. I want to do the song. If the crowds don't like the song, then I will abandon the song. And that happens from time to time. You'll send out a message, tell everyone to learn it. You'll play it for a couple months, and it's not doing for the crowd what you thought it was going to, and so you just let it go. It could be a hit song on the radio, but it's not a hit song in a club. People don't want you to sing that good song. They want you to sing Chicken Fried Again and Wagon Wheel and Friends in Low Places. Don't sing that good song that has substance. I don't want that. All right, so before I do any of this, we're going to duplicate the fuselage as it sits and hide it. We're going to duplicate the wings as they sit and hide it. So just rail for right now. Hide the rail. Let's select all of these faces. Let's delete them. Delete faces. And then let's bring the rail back. Let's hide those. Alright, so we need to duplicate the rail, hide it. We need to select the rail, the body, Control minus. That'll cut a groove that looks like that right there. Go here. Apply that. Delete the rail. So now there will be a rail in the body, or a slot in the body, and we will put that rail on the wing with a few modifications to allow tolerances, and then that should slide in. And if you put a little dab of glue on it, a little stream of glue on it before you slide it in, then that should really lock it in if you don't want to remove it again. So bring the rail back, bring the wings back. Now we'll hide the body. Wait, hide the rail first. Delete those vertices. Well, my goodness, look who just showed up. Dude, I have not seen you around in forever. What in the world have you been up to? I can't remember the last time you had like a live stream or was hanging out. I was even asking somebody about you the other day. Well, hopefully it's the good kind of busy. That's what you like to see, is the good kind of busy. Busy with things going absolutely wonderful in your life. That's what we want to see. So we're going to take that one and that one. And we're going to hit Control Plus. And apply that. I'm going to delete that. Some acreage. Acreage is good. Room to build you a whole separate building to make your makerspace in. I hope you've been keeping up with your 3D modeling and 3D printing, dude. Haven't seen you in a while. And your music, all that stuff. I know sometimes it's tough to fit lots of stuff in. All right, so now that right there should work. And Roy, if you're still watching, you can see now I put a rail with a unique shape that should be easy to line up on the wing, and then a slot that matches that in the sides of the fuselage. So now I need to do a different cap. I need to make a cap for this that has that on the end so that it'll slide in. Almost done with your garage / makerspace. Very cool, noob. Yeah, I need to clean out my garage. My garage has been a mess since the day we moved in because we were in such a hurry to get everything moved over. We didn't pack right. We didn't move stuff in right. We moved all the stuff that needed to go where it needed to go, like that we needed to use, like beds and televisions and couches and things like that. They all got moved where they went. And then anything that was not essential ended up just piled up in the garage, and it's stayed that way since we moved in. And so my garage is completely unusable. I can barely get my lawnmower in and out of it. Cool, Jason. Yeah, man. That's awesome. And when you get that new place and you get your space designated and all that, and who knows, maybe the place you find will already have the separate buildings on it that you want. But do a live stream. Show us. 57 by 30 feet. Wow, it's big. Well, cool, man. Hopefully, the project gets done and we'll see you around more. It's been a long time. Well, hello there. You've avoided us all morning. The real star of the stream has arrived just in time for us to say goodbye. It's getting to be that time. We've been streaming for 2 hours and... Oh, was you tired? Is that where you were? Was you napping? All right, we've been on this for 2 hours. We've got a lot of work done today, and we worked on the jet, which was the People's Choice. And we will continue to do so as we move forward. So keep tuning in if you want to see more stuff done on the jet, and as the jet gets finished up. And of course, we get parts ready to print. They'll go out to the Patreon folks first, and so they'll get first crack at it. And well, thank you for hanging out today. Thank you for joining us on Tanner 3D, right? Right, Joey? Joey says bye. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.